Core threats and attacks. 1. Malware. Software specifically designed to harm, disrupt, or gain unauthorized access to a computer system, including viruses, worms, trojans, and ransomware. 2. Phishing. A social engineering attack that tricks people into revealing sensitive information or credentials by impersonating a trustworthy source through email, text, or phone. 3. Ransomware. A form of malware that encrypts a victim's files and demands payment, typically in cryptocurrency, in exchange for restoring access. 4. Botnet. A network of compromised computers controlled remotely by an attacker, often used to launch DDoS attacks, send spam, or steal data at scale. 5. DDoS. Distributed denial of service. An attack that floods a website or network with overwhelming traffic from multiple sources, making it unavailable to legitimate users. 6. Man-in-the-middle attack, MITM. An attack where an adversary secretly intercepts and potentially alters communication between two parties to steal sensitive information. 7. SQL injection. An attack that exploits vulnerabilities in a web application's database by inserting malicious SQL code to gain unauthorized access to back-end data. 8. Cross-site scripting, XSS. An attack that injects malicious scripts into trusted websites to steal user data, hijack sessions, or redirect users. 9. Cross-site request forgery, CSRF. An attack that tricks an authenticated user into unknowingly submitting malicious requests to a web application they're already logged into. 10. Zero-day exploit. An attack that takes advantage of a software vulnerability that is unknown to the vendor and has no available patch. Malware types. 11. Virus. Malicious code that attaches itself to legitimate files and spreads to other programs or systems when executed. 12. Worm. A self-replicating form of malware that spreads across networks without requiring user interaction or a host file. 13. Trojan horse. Malware disguised as legitimate software that, once installed, allows an attacker to access or control the infected system. 14. Rootkit. Malware that hides its presence deep within a system and grants an attacker persistent, often privileged access without detection. 15. Keylogger. A type of malware that silently records every keystroke made on a device to capture credentials, messages, and other sensitive input. 16. Spyware. Software that secretly monitors a user's activity and collects personal information without their knowledge or consent. 17. Adware. Software that automatically displays or downloads unwanted advertisements, often bundled with free applications. 18. Fileless malware. Malware that operates entirely in memory without writing files to disk, making it extremely difficult to detect with traditional antivirus tools. 19. Remote Access Trojan, RAT. Malware that gives an attacker full remote control over an infected system, including access to the camera, files, and keyboard. 20. Ransomware as a Service, RAS. A business model where ransomware developers lease their malware to affiliates who deploy it in exchange for a cut of the ransom payments. Defensive tools and AMP. Technologies. 21. Firewall. A network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing traffic based on predefined security rules to block unauthorized access. 22. Antivirus. Security software that detects, quarantines, and removes known malware from a device using signature-based and behavioral detection methods. 23. Intrusion Detection System, IDS, a security tool that monitors network traffic for suspicious patterns and alerts administrators to potential threats. 24. Intrusion Prevention System, IPS, a security tool that monitors network traffic and automatically blocks or contains threats before they cause damage. 25. CM, Security Information and Event Management, a platform that aggregates and analyzes log data from across an organization to detect, investigate, and respond to security threats in real time. 26. Web Application Firewall, WAF, a security solution that monitors, filters, and blocks malicious HTTP traffic targeting web applications. 27. Endpoint Security, the practice of securing every device that connects to a network, including laptops, phones, and servers, against threats. 28. Data Loss Prevention, DLP, technology that identifies and prevents sensitive data from being accidentally or intentionally transmitted outside an organization. 29. Sandbox, an isolated environment used to safely execute and analyze untrusted code or files without risking the production system. 30. Honeypot, a decoy system or network deliberately designed to attract attackers and gather intelligence about their tactics and techniques. Encryption and AMP protocols. 1. Encryption, the process of converting readable data into an unreadable format using an algorithm so only authorized parties with the decryption key can access it. 32. End-to-end encryption, a method of communication where only the sender and recipient can read the messages. No third party, including the service provider, can access them. 33. Advanced Encryption Standard, AES, a widely adopted symmetric encryption algorithm used by governments and organizations worldwide to protect sensitive data. 34. Public Key Infrastructure, PKI, a framework of policies, roles, and technologies used to create, manage, and distribute digital certificates and encryption keys. 35. Digital Certificate, an electronic document that uses a digital signature to bind a public key to an identity, verifying that a user or system is who they claim to be. Digital signature, a cryptographic mechanism that verifies the authenticity and integrity of a digital message or document. 37. SSL, Secure Sockets Layer, an older protocol for encrypting data transmitted between a web browser and server, largely replaced by TLS. 38. TLS, Transport Layer Security, the modern standard protocol for encrypting data in transit over the Internet, providing privacy and data integrity. 39. HTTPS, an extension of HTTP that uses TLS encryption to secure data exchanged between a user's browser and a web server, essential for any site handling sensitive data. 40. SSH, Secure Shell, a cryptographic network protocol that allows secure remote login and command execution on systems over an unsecured network. Identity and AMP, Access. 41. Two-factor authentication, 2FA, a security process requiring users to provide two forms of verification, typically a password plus a one-time code, before accessing an account. 42. Multi-factor authentication, MFA, A security method that requires two or more verification factors, making it significantly harder for attackers to gain unauthorized access. 43. Identity and Access Management, IAM. A framework of policies and technologies that controls who has access to what resources within an organization. 44. Privileged Access Management, PAM. A security discipline focused on controlling, monitoring, and auditing the access rights of users with elevated or administrative privileges. 45. Single Sign-On, SSO. An authentication method that allows users to log in once and gain access to multiple applications without re-entering credentials. 46. Zero Trust Security. A security model that assumes no user or device should be trusted by default, requiring continuous verification for every access request, inside or outside the network. 47. Access Control. The practice of restricting access to systems, data, and resources based on a user's verified identity and assigned permissions. 48. Authentication. The process of verifying that a user, device, or system is who or what it claims to be before granting access. 49. Authorization. The process of determining what actions an authenticated user is permitted to perform within a system or application. 50. Token. A physical device or digital credential that is used as part of an authentication process to prove identity or grant access. Network Security, VPN, Virtual Private Network. A technology that encrypts internet traffic and routes it through a secure server, protecting privacy and enabling secure remote access. 52. Network segmentation. The practice of dividing a network into isolated zones to contain breaches, limit lateral movement, and improve overall security. 53. DNS poisoning. A cyber attack that corrupts DNS cache records to redirect users from legitimate websites to malicious ones without their knowledge. 54. Network Address Translation, NAT. A technique that maps private IP addresses to a public IP address, helping to obscure internal network structure from external view. 55. Software-Defined Networking, SDN. A network architecture that separates the control plane from the data plane, enabling programmable, centralized network management. 56. Cloud Access Security Broker, CASB. A security solution that sits between users and cloud services to enforce security policies, provide visibility, and protect cloud-based data. 57. Internet of Things, IoT. The network of physical devices, from smart home gadgets to industrial sensors, that are connected to the internet and exchange data. 58. IoT security. The practice of protecting internet-connected devices from vulnerabilities, unauthorized access, and exploitation by malicious actors. 59. Network security. The set of policies, technologies, and controls designed to protect the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of a computer network and its data. 60. Threat actor. An individual, group, or nation-state responsible for initiating a cyber attack or posing a threat to an organization's systems or data. Advanced threats. Advanced Persistent Threat, APT. A sophisticated, long-term cyber attack, often state-sponsored, where attackers quietly maintain access to a target network to steal data over time. 62. Cyber espionage. The use of digital tools and techniques to covertly gather sensitive or classified information from governments, corporations, or individuals. 63. Cyber warfare. The use of cyber attacks by nation-states or organized groups to disrupt, damage, or destroy another country's critical infrastructure or military systems. 64. Supply chain attack. An attack that targets a vendor or third-party provider to compromise the downstream customers and organizations that rely on their software or services. 65. Social engineering. A manipulation technique that exploits human psychology rather than technical vulnerabilities to trick people into revealing confidential information. 66. Brute force attack. An attack method that uses automated tools to systematically try every possible password or encryption key combination until the correct one is found. 67. Credential stuffing. An attack that uses large sets of stolen username and password combinations to gain unauthorized access to accounts across multiple platforms. Insider threat. A security risk that originates from within an organization, including current or former employees who misuse their access to harm systems or steal data. 69. Script kiddie. An unskilled attacker who relies on pre-written tools and scripts created by others to launch cyber attacks without understanding how they work. Cyber physical systems. Systems in which digital computing and physical processes are tightly integrated, such as industrial control systems and medical devices, making them high-value attack targets. Governance and AMP. Compliance. 71. Risk management. The process of identifying, assessing, and prioritizing potential security risks and implementing controls to reduce or manage them. 72. Compliance. Adherence to the laws, regulations, standards, and internal policies that govern how an organization handles information security. 73. Cyber insurance. An insurance product designed to cover financial losses resulting from cyber attacks, data breaches, and related incidents. 74. Vulnerability. A weakness in a system, application, or process that could be exploited by an attacker to gain unauthorized access or cause harm. 75. Penetration testing. An authorized simulated cyber attack conducted by security professionals to identify and exploit vulnerabilities before malicious actors can. 76. Cyber resilience. An organization's ability to anticipate, withstand, respond to, and recover from cyber attacks while maintaining essential operations. 77. Cyber threat intelligence, CTI. The collection and analysis of information about current and emerging threats used to inform and improve an organization's defenses. 78. Cybercrime. Criminal activity carried out using computers or the internet, including fraud, identity theft, ransomware attacks, and data theft. 9. Cyberbullying. The use of digital technology to harass, threaten, or intimidate individuals, often occurring on social media or messaging platforms. 80. Digital forensics. The practice of collecting, preserving, and analyzing digital evidence from devices and networks to support legal investigations. Operations and AMP. Response. 81. Incident response. A structured process for identifying, containing, eradicating, and recovering from cybersecurity incidents to minimize damage and restore operations. 82. Security Operations Center, SOC. A centralized team and facility responsible for continuously monitoring, detecting, analyzing, and responding to cybersecurity threats. 83. Cyber hygiene. The set of regular practices like updating software, using strong passwords, and backing up data that individuals and organizations follow to stay secure. 84. Chain of custody. The documented process of tracking digital evidence from the moment of collection through analysis and storage to ensure its legal integrity. 85. Unified Endpoint Management, UEM, a single platform used to manage and secure all endpoint devices, including desktops, laptops, and mobile devices from one centralized console. 86. Backup. A copy of data or system configurations stored separately so it can be used to restore the original in the event of data loss, corruption, or a ransomware attack. 87. Encryption key management. The practice of securely generating, storing, distributing, rotating, and retiring the cryptographic keys used to protect sensitive data. 88. Cloud security. The set of policies, controls, and technologies designed to protect data, applications, and infrastructure hosted in cloud computing environments. 89. Email security. The tools and practices used to protect email systems and users from spam, phishing, malware, and business email compromise attacks. Physical security. The measures taken to protect buildings, hardware, and physical assets from unauthorized access, theft, vandalism, or environmental damage. Emerging and AMP, Essential Concepts. 91. Artificial Intelligence, AI security. The practice of defending AI systems from adversarial attacks, data poisoning, and misuse, while also using AI to strengthen cyber defenses. 92. Root access, the highest level of system privilege, granting full control over an operating system, and one of the most valuable targets for attackers. 93. Password cracking, the process of recovering or guessing passwords using techniques like brute force, dictionary attacks, or rainbow table lookups. 94. Denial of service, DOS, an attack from a single source that overwhelms a system or network with requests, making it unavailable to legitimate users. 95. User and Entity Behavior Analytics, UEBA, a security solution that applies machine learning to detect abnormal user behavior that may indicate an insider threat or compromised account. 96. Dark Web, a part of the internet that is not indexed by search engines and requires special software to access, often used for illegal commerce, stolen data sales, and criminal coordination. 97. Cyber physical attack, an attack that crosses from the digital world into the physical, targeting systems that control real-world infrastructure like power grids, water treatment, or transportation. 98. Cloud Identity and Access Management, CIAM, the practice of managing user identities and controlling access to cloud-based resources and applications across distributed environments. 99. Data breach, an unauthorized access to or exposure of sensitive information, including personal data, financial records, or credentials, often resulting in regulatory penalties and reputational damage. 100. Cybersecurity Framework, a structured set of guidelines and best practices, like NIST CSF or ISO 27001, that organizations use to manage and reduce cybersecurity risk.